Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Dugout Mug Studios. Welcome to the Variety Sports Network. This is the 7th inning stretch.
What's up, boys? Here Thursday night. Who cares about the T-Wolves Mavs tonight, right? We got 7th inning stretch. We got baseball to talk about tonight. Josh was just throwing out little kids, hopefully an umpire games, or at least in his mind he was throwing them out of games. But we're here tonight, ready to talk some baseball. Guys, a lot to get into. You know the lineup. We'll get into disappointments here. We'll get into Acuna here in a little bit, going out for the seasons, a lot of other things here. Jordan's back on the show, but first, Josh Edwards, how we doing?
Hey, it's a Thursday. We got one day left till the weekend. That's how we're doing.
Payday's almost here, right, Jordan? We almost there. How you doing, my friend?
My payday's next Friday, bi-weekly, you know.
I feel better than the weekend. I need it tomorrow. We get it.
But the weekend's a weekend. It's a win regardless, you know.
It is, no, regardless. Hey, Variety Sports Network here, 7th inning stretch, as we said here. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate the big results we got last week and the week before. 300 views last week. Appreciate that. You guys tuning in last week for that. We hope to give you the same entertainment this week as well. You'll be sure to check out the ticker below. We get you some of the stuff that's going on around the MLB this week. All right, boys, let's get right into the meats and potatoes of the show here on 7th inning stretch, where I wanted to start with it. Biggest disappointments in the first 2 months. This felt like the appropriate time to do it, right? Felt like that right time. Let's start with you, Josh. Give us like maybe one or two here, then we'll go to Jordan for one or two.
Just one or two? Okay, that'll be nice.
We'll kind of make our way around. I know you got so many. We'll make our way around for a few here.
Okay, I'm taking an obvious one. Yeah. The Arizona Diamondbacks and Corbin Carroll. Like, absolute great rookie season. Absolutely. Has had the sophomore slump of sophomore slumps this year, and Arizona is they're not even the way they look. They're not going to make the playoffs, and that's just sad. So that's a big one there, and then the Toronto Blue Jays is going to be my first two. I'm going to lead off with. That team was stacked on paper. We knew that division was going to be tough. I mean, that's the whole thing. We knew that division was going to be a battle top to bottom, minus Boston. And Boston's playing way better than everybody else. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Their pitching has just been real until they played the Cardinals, and the Cardinals ate them up. Sorry, Boston, I jinxed you. But, I mean, it's been a weird season. Way more disappointments than I thought they were going to be, and the bigger disappointments than I anticipated. So I'm going to start with those two teams, the D-backs and the Blue Jays.
Jordan, what do you make of this?
My two teams. So you said the Blue Jays, so that was one of my two. So I have a backup to that. So they both come. So I have the Astros.
Good call.
And then I think a very obvious one that we can also agree on is the Mets. So I mean,
yes, we can, sir. Yes,
truthfully, I think we all went into the season thinking that the Mets were going to Mets it up this season anyway. Yeah. Even though they spent all that money, they should be better than what they're doing. But Pete Alonso can't hit. Francisco Lindor's finally hitting now. Like there's a lot of issues going on with that team overall. And then the Astros, they're disappointing. However, they're the Astros. They will. If any team gets out of it, it would be them.
And you guys mentioned a few teams there, right there. I wanted to kind of just circle back to. Yes, Susie, tuning in here. The Astros were mentioned along the way, sitting at 25-32 right now. Today they get the W today though, 4-0 over Seattle. But let's start with Susie's Astros. Let's work our way back to some of Josh's as well. There with the Blue Jays as well, because I want to get into them as well. The Astros, to me, Josh, I feel like it's a disappointment, but I'm also hesitant to call them that because of the way what you said beforehand. I might steal a little thunder here, but maybe it'll be one of mine. Is the AL West in general has not played well, which has given them still a chance. I feel like to kind of stay in there, even though they are a disappointment based on that. I know Bregman's usually a slow starter. I am concerned though about their depth. They usually always seem to have like a young guy ready to go, and we're not hearing about that young guy. And that's really, we haven't heard that really. And then they've had a few injuries along the way, as obviously, and Abreu not playing well. But yeah, that's a massive disappointment, the Astros, but I still feel like they have a little life. You have any thoughts on the Astros there, Josh?
They have life because of the championship pedigree that they have and how fantastic they have been the last few years. And yes, Blanco's been a bright spot, but one man can't carry the team. And when they're sitting 7 games under 500, they're 5.5 games back out of their division. They're 6.5 games back out of the wild card, which I don't even like talking about it this early in the season. I mean, we're not even to July 4th yet, so I think that's irrelevant. But 5.5 games back in this division is not horrible, but this is not the Astros teams we have seen the last few years. And I don't know if they have enough to get it going. The Mariners, I think the Mariners could keep them down. I think they could, but I think that division's wide open, and it's about as pitiful as the NL Central. If you want to be honest, and we thought the AL Central was going to be the AL Central and the NL Central were going to be pitiful. It's the AL West and the NL Central. So,
and I'd be curious, Susie, if you're on there, do you feel that same like, hey, they're a veteran team, they'll come back? Comment in there. I'd be curious what you thought of that. Jordan, what do you kind of make of the D-backs as well there, and maybe the Astros too, if you want to touch on them as well.
So the Diamondbacks is very interesting considering that they have a very similar team to what they had last season going into the wild card, going into the wild card series. My apologies. Wild card series. No, they did get the wild card. They have never mind. They got the 16th. Yeah. So they had the wild card. They surprised everybody. They really don't have anybody different except having Jordan Montgomery, which should add an extra bump to them. But they're just underperforming in all different areas. Corbin Carroll, like Josh mentioned before, he's just not hitting the ball. He can't get on base right now. His defense is looking good, but like his offense is not looking the way that it should be because he just got his payday. But also it's a very normal thing for sophomores to have that little slump in the road. But I don't know. Do I see them getting out of it? Probably not. The division that they're in is crazy.
With the D-backs too, though, I feel like I wanted to mention real quick here, Susie, though, real quick on the Astros, put a little kind of stamp on them. I have no idea this year. It's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And that's where sometimes veteran teams get like, you see this famously in basketball where they get like there and then they just, because they hold on, like then they hold on and then they get to a 7th seed. Then they're at the 8th. You see that all the time. Baseball, it's a little shorter because of the less playoff teams, but now there's more. But the same idea there remains. So I'm curious, Susie, I still give your Astros a little life, though, because of those Rangers and those Mariners in the AL West, letting them stay in it.
And I would also like to add another disappointment, the Rangers, just like you just said.
Man.
Like they are having a hardcore hangover right now. Corey Seager's finally hitting the ball well, but Marcus Semien isn't hitting the ball well. Wyatt Langford is not playing as hot. Evan Carter wasn't playing hot before he got hurt. Like,
Semien just going the IL too.
Yeah.
And
so, I mean,
on the D-backs point, though, like you know how you mentioned they got Montgomery. Me and Josh were really high on him coming this season.
Yeah, I was too.
That holdout too really kind of affect him. Gallen gets hurt today. He goes 6 pitches, guys. He's out now probably for who knows, but he only goes 6 pitches. He's done for probably a little while too. And the other thing with the D-backs too is like you talked about Carroll. He has a 0.0 WAR right now. He's batting 194, 2 home runs, 200 at bats, only 40 hits. So it's just been a real rough start for them. And then the other guy we didn't mention that they signed was from the Tigers, Rodriguez there. And he's been hurt most of the time as well. And they were expecting a lot of him. And that's why you thought you kept their roster together and you gained 2 good starters, but it just hasn't played out that same way. And that's always the Major League Baseball game. And that's why developing players in a core system is also important because you have this kind of built up in a thing. And I think you're seeing that overall. I don't know if the Diamondbacks had the depth. They brought up a lot of their guys last year that played out. They got a hot run. But Corbin Carroll batting 194, they're not winning anything. I mean, that's the most obvious thing. So he might be he's definitely up there as a player. Can I also throw out there, we had, Josh, I don't want to go, I'm just going to mention this team, the Marlins, obviously. We did a whole thing on them 3 weeks ago, but they're awful, like 19 games already.
They're awful, but they've lost 4 of their starting pitchers before the season started.
That's true.
Like they lost their entire rotation.
The craziest thing about it is that their pitching staff isn't even that bad. Like even the guys that they're bringing up,
the front office. I mean, I guess that
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. And it's the front office screwed everything up. I mean, why would you not give Skip Schumacher an extension And Skip didn't even want the extension because of the other things that had happened after the season he had last year and the other moves the front office has made. The Marlins are doing the exact same thing they've always done. They have a good run and they tear it apart. For what godforsaken reason, I have no idea. Like, why does that city not deserve to have a good baseball team year in and year out? They have beautiful weather. They have a nice stadium. They've got cool jerseys. They got young players they had young players with some swag. They had talent. You had something to build off of in Miami for once in your lives. And again, you're destroying it and tearing it apart. Like, I just don't understand it. Jordan, did
and then them sending down Max Meyer? I couldn't remember his name. Is that the guy?
I think so.
I think he has like a 1.7 or 2 low 2 ERA right now, and they sent him back to the AAA for some reason. There's a lot of decisions that are just head scratchers that they're doing, and their pitching staff is for some odd reason still performing really well. It's just their offense, nothing is producing. Right. And like Josh said, there was a lot of hopes having that young talent come in and try to produce, but none of them are producing.
I wanted to also go to the team you guys mentioned first, or Jordan, I think it was you, I believe, that mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, the Mets. I feel like that obviously that's a team that Josh, you both said like, hey, or it sounds like it. I know Josh wasn't the big fan of them at the start of the year. I was kind of a little bit more of a believer they would hang in there most of the year. They were my number one team I wrote down as a disappointment. Like just MLB wise, I have a couple others I'll share with you. That's not the team wise, but they have the Mets here. Like, cause I got some stuff going at the bottom here. I mean, if we're looking at their month of May, it's ridiculous. I mean, we're starting with you have the tough loss on that replay with the Chicago Cubs that looks like Alonso's safe. Then you're nearly no hit there until until they get the home run. Diaz falls apart multiple times. Lindor does that weird, like watching a strike 3 thing. Diaz melts down a couple other times in the month. Alonso gets hit in the hand. It looks like he kind of saved himself from a big injury. And then you have Lopez do his thingy-majig yesterday that we'll get into more in Diamond Notes. But so save your Lopez thoughts for Diamond Notes. But just in the Mets' disappointment, the fact, like, I know maybe for you guys you thought that way, but like their hitting right now is absolutely pathetic. Marte is the best hitter right now at 262. Alonso's like second. Lindor is like third or fourth. I mean, we're talking like really bad. So they're going to have to trade these guys, but now they're not going to be able to get back as much. And like they just signed like Nimmo, right? And they have I don't know. The Mets to me are the biggest mess right now.
That's what happens when you let a guy go play fantasy baseball with real money, with real players in real life. And now he's going to have to reap what he sowed.
So is Lindor the biggest reason why? Because he was the first guy. No, I'm just asking from the sense of like, he's not like, if he was the guy they got from Cleveland that was supposed to be the superstar and he's not, I don't know. Is he the guy that's supposed to carry him when they get it? Ramirez does that kind of for Cleveland now. I mean, why can't Lindor? Is it bigger than that?
I don't, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm not comfortable answering that question. I think it's a combination of things. I don't think it's just Lindor. I think it's the big polar bear and Lindor and the pitching. I mean, their closer. Oh my gosh, I'm just having a
Edwin Diaz.
Tired. Thank you.
Diaz.
Sorry. I know he's got the brother. Yeah. Anyways, he's got the crazy music.
Yeah,
he's not performing either. Crazy music. It's good. It's good crazy, not bad crazy.
Great intro.
I want to say it's a combination of everything, and I think it comes from the front office is where it all starts.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's a dumpster fire.
Sorry to cut you there. My guy Ant here in Memphis, out there tuning in, Mets fan out there, so I know he's extra frustrated with the Mets on Josh's points there with it. What do you guys think, Josh? Like with the Mets to kind of put it, then we'll go to Jordan here with it. I want to get your last thoughts here though on the Mets. Like Alonso, do you think Alonso ends up being traded? Like there's talk about this happening. Do you think do you think they should sign him? Do you think they just let him go? What do you think happens with Pistol Pete? Is in the basketball terms here. What do you guys think?
So we're talking Pete Maravich, or are we talking?
No, we're talking.
I know.
Mr. Alonso. What are we doing?
I just wanted to prove that I knew Pistol Pete.
I put people in the hospital.
Like that's a tough one because you constantly see articles, you constantly see rumors of we might trade Pete Alonso. Oh, we're not trading him. Oh, he's gonna get traded. Oh, we don't know. I think they should trade him just to get a bunch of prospects and restart. Because you could still get a lot out of Pete Alonso because he's going to give you 30 plus home runs a year. And so a team will pay big for that. And they also have Acuna's little brother that is doing quite well right now. So, I mean, there's upside, but I do feel like for the Mets to go to that next step, trading Pete Alonso would make the most sense so they can get those prospects to reload and retool. Not a rebuild, but to reload and retool and stuff like that.
But aren't they too far behind to just do a retool? Shouldn't they really just scrap it at this point and start from scratch?
That's so expensive to scrap right now, though.
I know. I'm with you. I
so expensive.
Agree with
you can't
you,
just do that. Yeah.
Can they even retool with where they're at? That's my question. I don't know if it's possible in baseball.
The reason why I say retool is because I don't think they can do a rebuild because nobody's going to take all these expensive contracts. Brandon Nimmo is one of the highest paid center fielders. Why?
They're not going to unload him. I mean, but they can unload.
Well, you get what I mean, though, right? Like,
I'm with you.
There's a lot of players on that team that are getting paid more than I feel like they should. Lindor, yeah. If Adam was in this chat, if he's watching, he does not like Lindor and constantly bashes him on a daily basis. but like
Nimmo, for sure.
I don't know. It's just really tough to rebuild a team that you put so much money into. You rebuild when your team is like not as expensive, and then you can still trade some players off. But like the Cardinals, they could rebuild technically. Yeah. But the Mets, they can't.
I always say this with the Mets. They don't have an identity. Like, they don't have, like, a franchise identity. Like, right now it's just spend and get lucky. Like, it is a little bit – they had that a little bit with DeGrom and Syndergaard. They got unlucky with Harvey and all those guys. They got a little unlucky with injuries with those guys, right? But, like, they have a history of not really having an identity with where they're at with some of these things. So, my biggest thing with the Mets, like, moving forward, I feel like I wanted to spend the most time on them in this discussion because just how pathetic they've been, like, 22-33. They had a team meeting at that point after that. So those are some, like, with the Mets there, that's just been really bad. That month of May was awful with that. Josh, how about some, like, player disappointments? And I know we got some other ones too. Like, you got
Manny Machado.
Manny, man. What happened to Manny?
What is going on in San Diego? On paper, this team should be able to compete with the Dodgers. They can barely hold water. They're behind the Giants, for God's sakes. And the Giants, and no disrespect to all of our Giants fans out there, Tyler in particular, the Giants should be a dumpster fire. And at least they look like they can compete and they have something going on. They made a bunch of really, I'm going to say this hesitantly, they made a bunch of really good moves in the offseason. They were small moves. They were quiet moves. They made a bunch of good moves. They took a risk on Jordan Hicks, turned him into a starter. He has shown that he can do it. I mean, they brought a bunch of pieces in, and it's working for them. What is wrong with the Padres? Like, on paper, you guys are stacked. The only team in the NL that on paper, outside of the Phillies and the Braves, that should be able to compete with the Dodgers, and you guys can't carry your own bag to the ballpark. So I blame Machado for it because he's supposed to be the leader. I don't blame Tatis. Tatis is a showboat who's gotten into trouble, who's a hell of a player, but I blame Machado. He's supposed to be the captain, the leader. He's supposed to drive this team, and he ain't getting the job done.
It's interesting that Profar leads them in almost every category because
nobody wanted him.
Well, because he used to be a top prospect for such a long time. Like a long time ago, like with the Rangers, and like it's like Jordan. He might just be having what we say those career year, right? Like where it like all came together for him. Like that talent you saw when he was younger that he could never really piece together for a full season. Does seem like that's happening for the Padres. I kind of feel a little different than you about the Padres. I kind of like where they're at a little bit headed into the thing. I don't love it, but I think with Machado with the ability to get hot, I think there's a chance. And I love Dylan Cease going there, obviously. So that part I loved about that to begin with. So I hear you though. The Padres they were a disappointment then, but then you get a rise. He's already breaking like 20 win type numbers out there, right? So that's a guy too. But Machado himself, that's an interesting one. Like, I always find guys like that. It's always dangerous.
I gotta find my list, man, because I know I texted
another guys I have too. Randy Arozarena.
I had him on my list. Yep.
155 is his batting average right now. Absolutely pathetic for the Rays right now. Jordan, just like, it's funny how like baseball is that type of sport though. It's like it's the most. That's why when you have like the elite, like you have like your Harpers, and you have, I know people get mad, and you have these guys that are guaranteed studs when they play. You got to take them for granted when they're there, because not every year are you getting these numbers back to back, and I feel like that's what we're getting with him in Tampa right now.
Right.
Right. Now, and you also can't forget about his like 30+% strikeout rate. The man just gets up there and just strikes out constantly. When he hits the ball, he gets like a double or a home run, but he's nothing better than that. Than it's just a strikeout. Like there's a lot of benefits with Randy. He's fast. He has power. He can hit the ball, but when he's not doing any of that, he's just an extra body out there batting number 2.
Yeah.
And I don't like seeing it because I really like Randy Arozarena.
I had also Blake Snell.
I think
God, come on, a 10.42 ERA, and you sat out all this time for that crap. I mean, that is a huge disappointment.
I told you he was going to bomb out this season.
Yeah,
because the only time he's ever good is when he's in the Cy Young running. Every other season he's ever had has been average or below average. And people called me a fool for that.
I thought they called you that for Ed Dowski. All right, we got that.
I got another one.
All right, give me another
one. This one hits near and dear to my heart because he's one of my favorite players. Cedric Mullins.
You took it from me. That's what I was going to say next.
He's one of my favorites. I'm a huge fan of his. He's in the same boat as Randy. He strikes out a lot right now. He's not hitting the ball well. His defense is surprisingly not doing well either. Like there has to be something wrong with him because he's a 30-30 player for sure. And he's not playing like that right now. And it pains me seeing that because he's a stolen base threat, and he's also a power guy as well and a contact guy. So yeah. I'm sorry I took yours, Josh.
No, you're good. I got another one that I want to bring up.
Who you got?
Xander Bogaerts.
Oh, he's hurt though. And he's been hurt for most of the season, but just didn't talk about it.
But he was playing through it, right?
He was playing through it, yeah.
But Josh, give him a little bit of a pass because I always felt like with him he got messed up when they said you're going to second base. Like they didn't sign him to go. I do feel like that played a little. I don't know. For me, I'm not saying he gets injured or it's a bailout.
That a player of that caliber, he knows what he can and can't do. He should be able to have the balls to sit there and go, hey, that is not where I need to play. That is not going to benefit you the most. I'll do the best I can, but that's not where I am meant to play. That's his. When you're a player of that caliber and his, what's the word I'm looking for?
Cachet.
James, he's well known enough. He's been established long enough is what I'm trying to get at. He should be able to speak his mind and say, I'll go out there and do what the team needs me to do, but I don't think this is going to serve in our best interest. He should have been able to say that, and that's my problem with it. But yeah, I think he's choking a little bit because he's supposed to be a star. He's supposed to be a guy who can do anything anywhere.
No doubt. In the chat here, we got Julio.
Yeah, Julio's on that list for sure.
There.
He's starting to heat up a little bit.
He's had a few moments there. He's carried the sword a few times.
Remember, disappointed for the first 2 months. So
I think he's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's on a 6-game hitting streak.
Yeah, it's right there. What do you think of this one, Jordan? This is me. To me, he's a beast. So I'm not. For me, I just feel like to me, he's a scary hitter at all times. So for me, I'm not quite there to bail out on a disappointment yet. He's still right there, kind of in it. So I can't say quite he's on that list. Bregman and Riley. Riley coming back a little bit from injury. We'll get into him in just a second here with it. So those are some of our disappointments with it. My final ones, I'll let you guys go around to have the final thoughts before I move on. My last one, as a local guy out here, He was the first pick overall a few years ago out of Arizona State. I mean, like literally when I say local, like played these high schools. Mr. Spencer Torkelson for Detroit hasn't lived up to it as a pick. And then the guy even closer to me, Andrew Vaughn, just hasn't had a good season again for the White Sox. Nope. Both of these guys
Andrew
really
Vaughn, I totally forgot about that name.
Really, and that's what I'm saying.
That's how bad he's been.
That's how bad he was a number 3 pick a few years ago. Like I said, I got to coach him. It's really hard to see him struggle. Like so, you like to see him do better, but I also have to admit these guys are really playing bad. 4 as high as they were valued and their picks. So hopefully they'll turn it around. But right now they're like I think Torkelson might be rated the second worst player in the MLB. We mentioned the first. I can't think of the name right now, but we said it earlier. Oh, Rosarena. He's the worst rated player for that plays every day based on his numbers. So you have that too. Hey. So. Josh, your final thoughts on it, and we'll get to Jordan for his final disappointment if you guys have any.
Jordan, I want to say somebody, but I think you're going to say him.
So no, you say
first. No, I want you to go first. I want to hear what you got, because if you don't say him, I will. But go ahead.
Go ahead, Jordan.
It's somebody we should both say. That's what I'm getting at.
Somebody we should both say, you say? Hang on. I'm trying to read your mind real quick. Hang on.
Is it a Cardinal, Josh? Are you gonna help?
Yeah, it's a Cardinal. That's why I'm like.
Is it a Cardinal? It's not Goldschmidt because he's starting to hit better now.
Well, no, but somebody else who's not even with the club right now.
Well,
that's not. Oh, are you talking about? No.
Jordan Walker. I'll say it then. Jordan Walker.
No, he's not a disappointment. That's a Cardinals disappointment.
That's a
okay. I want to explain that, but I figured you would have your thoughts because you and I disagree on him. He's
batting 320, 330.
He must consider a top prospect though.
He is still a top prospect for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's still a top prospect in the MLB, but he came out the gate and he choked.
He did not play well.
Jordan said last year multiple times with his boys that the Cardinals broke him, and I still defend Walker. I still think he's going to be a star. I think he's going to be great, but he has been ice cold. He was at ice cold to plate in the majors when he came in this year. The rumor is he's going to get called up for his bobblehead night that is scheduled in 2 weeks. Yes, he's hitting fine right now in the minors, but he still hasn't hit a home run yet. He's not being consistent. His defense is much better, and he's probably going to get called up because Lars Newbar is once again on the IL. So I figured.
Is that confirmed that he's on the IL?
I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I think he's going to be on the IL. And side note, I think Newbar needs to be traded.
Hey, Josh, you guys probably don't remember this name, but this is who Walker. Like I always think of guys like Walker that maybe they struggle early and then they come back. They don't live up to quite the hype, but they're still good players. You know what I mean? They're like solid contributors on team. They're just not what you thought. They still have like 150 career homers, all that good stuff. You remember the name Chris Carter? He played for the Astros and he played for the A's. He was a first baseman.
He was a hell of a wide receiver for the Vikings.
No, not that one. Not that. That's why everybody thinks it's him.
And he also went to Ohio State. Sorry.
No, it's not him.
No. Yes. Yeah, Chris Carter.
That's who he reminds me of. If he doesn't put the tools together, he'll probably end up with 150 career homers, playing one position against lefties. So be curious where he is with it.
And so I'd like to add on with the Jordan Walker idea. So Ciani at that point when Walker was sent down, Ciani was batting worse than him.
Oh yeah,
at that time, way worse. And like my and Corbin Carroll is not playing well whatsoever, right? So why are they not sending Corbin Carroll down, but they send Jordan Walker down? But
because
then
Arizona's doing it right. They're letting him work through it at the MLB level.
Exactly. So why?
Oh my God,
that's exactly what I think. I 100% agree. Why not let this guy struggle? Because struggling in the MLB is helpful for younger players. You want them to struggle so they can learn. Michael Harris is a fantastic example of that last year when he was horrible after getting his Rookie of the Year, but then he comes back after the All-Star break and is batting like almost 400. Like you just got to give young baseball players time to really develop and adjust. I guarantee you next year, which I hope, not guarantee you, I hope this doesn't happen. I hope Mason Wynn doesn't suck next year at the beginning of the season because he's balling out looking like an NL Rookie of the Year because it's going to be Eminaga probably. But
well, hey, before we get into Cardinals Chronicles here, let's get.
No. I was just saying an example. My fault. I was just using.
I got you. I hear you win on that part of it, but I also feel like. Go ahead, Josh. I feel like you got something. Go ahead.
No, I want to say something about Shane's comment here. Yes, lots of players start seasons cold. Marmol and Mosaic don't like Jordan Walker, and I tend to agree here because Jordan Walker said in an interview last year that he wasn't going to try to lift the ball. He was going to do what got him to the majors. I think in the offseason, he tried to do what the Cardinals wanted him to do, and it affected his swing and his technique. I think the kid's fine. I don't think he's broken. I think he's just trying to figure out how to get back to where he was at that got him to the majors in the first place. I think he's mentally strong enough to struggle through the major league struggles. I think he is. But he's trying to do too many things that he shouldn't be trying to do. Just get back to basics. And that's kind of where I'm at on that one. I think some guys aren't mentally strong enough. You got to send them back to AAA. Like Jackson Holiday, it's not that I don't think he was mentally strong enough to stay up with the Orioles.
No, I get you.
I just think they felt like he needed more time to develop, which is perfectly fine.
No, and that one makes sense.
Yeah, that one makes sense. So, like, I understand, but I am expecting when Jordan Walker comes back, we see 285, we see 15 to 20 home runs, and we see 60 to 70 RBIs in the second half of the season. I think he's going to be that kind of hot.
I really hope they trade Walker to a team that
will screw you.
Las Vegas A's, he'll be there. We got it there. I want to, as we kind of get to disappointments here with it, I want to keep going as we kind of get to 30, about the halfway mark here of the show, or a little bit around that point. On disappointments, to me, this is one I kind of wanted to spend let's go like 8 minutes, maybe on whatever around that time. We got Acuna Jr. here, MVP from last year. He's out for the season with a torn ACL. He gets it just kind of on a Jordan, just a nonchalant play, really, at second base, blows it out. And I wrote it. I said, and I can't help but wonder what we've already lost in this guy. So on the ticker, you'll see some things I got with him on it at the bottom. Like, I'll get into that with you guys more in a minute, but what's your guys' initial thoughts? Like, I'll start with you, Jordan, of this guy going out. For me, as a baseball fan, the Braves are just always one of those teams. I don't necessarily love them, but they're always just a team that's there because of TBS, and you see them, and they're on TV a lot. And this guy's a great player, though. Like, he's awesome, like an awesome player. And it really sucks I think that he goes out this whole time. And what do you kind of just make of him going out? Braves and all that. What's your thoughts when you hear he's out for the season again with an ACL?
I hate it because I really like Ronald Acuna because he's a lot of fun to watch. He has a lot of energy. I like how aggressive he is when he runs the bases and everything. His defense is really good. He's just a good guy to watch to play baseball. If you want your kid to watch a player, he's a good guy to watch when it comes down to fundamentals and how he presents himself playing baseball. And people are saying that this is contributed because he doesn't take any time off. He plays baseball throughout the winter in Venezuela. I don't think so. I think that just makes him better and more conditioned, but that's just me personally. But but non-contact injuries are always the worst thing in any sport. If you're not touched and you're injured, it's very serious. And the fact that it happened on his right leg, because the last time 2 years ago it was his left leg, is even worse. And the Braves need him. And so I don't know. It stinks. This really deflates, I think, the confidence of the Braves a little bit right now. But that's just what I'm saying.
Shane Anderson here, growing up in countries where children can be fed roids in their baby bottles, it takes a toll on your joints. Josh, a little bit of a
Shane, I love you, man. I love what you put out there, buddy.
What do you got with that? It takes a toll on
this guy.
This is horrible for baseball in general. It's bad enough for the Braves alone.
Sucks,
but didn't they do good without him last time he was hurt?
Oh, yeah, they won the World Series. My fault. I totally forgot.
That's the point I'm making. This team has, and this goes back to what I said last week, how I trust the Braves and the Phillies more than I trust the Dodgers. The Braves have organizational depth. They can do this without Acuna Jr., just like they have before. They're going to have to do it in different ways. Yes, this is horrible for Acuna Jr., but okay, he already did the one knee. Now he's doing the other knee. He'll never tear an ACL again. And he's going to have fantastic knees for the next 20 years. We may see a guy with one of the longest longest longevities of a career ever now because his knees have been completely rebuilt. So this may work out for him in the long term. It's going to suck for right now. It's bad for MLB. It's bad for the Braves. But now we get to see what the Braves are really made of. And now we get to find out if I'm a fool or not for saying what I said last week, because I said they had a great foundation. They wouldn't crack when something went wrong. And now Acuna Jr. torn his ACL.
Jinxed it.
I didn't even mean to. It was just happening.
I
don't know. I think they can roll on. I still think they finish second, but they're a wild card lock.
I wrote kind of the Braves to me, they're obviously being the outfield market now with stuff. Austin Riley's coming back. That should help a little bit. But for me, you just can't help but wonder, like for me with guys like this, like the what if now at this point. Like you know me, Josh, I'm like a history guy with this stuff. Like that's why I do the trivia with you guys. I do the throwback with you. Like I like that stuff because like it's hard for me, Jordan, not to think like this guy's missed a lot of time. He had COVID issues, right? In that 2019 year, he missed the whole season there. 2020 he had that, and then 2020 he had the ACL. He's returned from the ACL. He's limited. He's going to be limited, I'm assuming, a little bit of time next year as well, of course. So you just got to help but wonder at what point he definitely these injuries will affect his place in history. Let's just put it that way. And I don't know. I just think that's a big thing for me when I look at it. To me, Josh,
another season like last year, I think he cements himself in history.
But you cement it. But I'm saying for the longevity, like. Can he get to 500 home runs now? Probably not.
Oh, you're talking about like milestones.
Yeah, like there's no way. Like some of these things are out of the picture now because of how much time he's missed. In my opinion,
they're going to slow him down on stolen bases now. I feel like.
Yeah, no doubt. He's not going to be able to.
They're slowing him down. He's not going to ever see 70 again.
No, that's.
I have more faith in the guy than that.
Oh,
I think God touched him with his hand and made him an incredible athlete, and he knows he's that good. And as long as he does his recovery correctly, I think he's going to be back, and his knees are going to be better than ever before.
Hey! All I know is look at Derek Rose.
That's a little different sport, though. A little different sport.
No, but you get what I mean, though, right? Because you're saying knees are better than ever and everything, and he constantly has knee issues on both legs.
How long ago did that happen for Derek Rose?
The one guy. Josh, I believe I read it. It was like the one guy that recovered was a Brave. I forget his name now, but he was like a catcher though. So it'll be interesting, like what position can he still play outfield at a high level? It'll be interesting what happens. Like we're talking. This is June now. He's probably not going to be back till June next year, July next year. So this is going to be a long time. So we'll be curious where they go with this as the Braves. So to me, that's a big disappointment that we get there with it. What do you guys think of this part of it? We got the top leaderboard changes as the Negro Leagues joined Major League record book. Seems like way overdue. What do you guys kind of make of that, Jordan? You got the 2 thumbs up. What do you got?
I love it. I'm wearing my Jackie Robinson jersey right now because I think it's dope. Personally, it's beyond long overdue because it's just at this point it's kind of unfair because they weren't allowed to play with the major leaguers, so they had to develop their own league and incorporating their numbers into major league stat lines. So you have players like Oscar Carlson, you have Josh Gibson, Buck O'Neil, a bunch of other amazing other Negro players as well. I think it is a fantastic thing that the MLB just rolled out. And then it's also going to open up to people that don't know much about the Negro Leagues and learn about these Negro players on trying to be like, okay, who is Oscar Charleston and why is his career on base percentage so high? And then they look it up and then they find out that he's actually a beast. Same with Josh Gibson. Not a lot of people know who Josh Gibson was. And when I learned about him, I was like, he was that good. Like they were even comparing him to Babe Ruth on how good he actually was at baseball. And it just sucks that he died at such a young age from a brain tumor. Because, well, he had a brain tumor, and that's probably what happened with it.
Oh, okay.
It could have been fixed. But he elected not to because he thought that he wouldn't be able to hit the ball the same way again. So he was just willing to just kick the bucket, I guess. If I got that history wrong, I apologize. But there's there's so much history that is to be learned about these people, and I love it personally.
Josh, I kind of echo the sentiments. It's kind of interesting because like I always feel like the best. It's a long documentary, but that Mr. Burns documentary on baseball, I just always say people should watch it. It's like there's no better documentary on baseball than that one. It will take you, it might take you 12 hours to get through it, but if you ever watch it, it will get. I'm serious, it will take you 12 hours. But he does an hour per decade from like 1880, and it's really fascinating. And it's one of the best. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. And I kind of agree. I agree completely with it. It's like they had to go to a different league, so it's like why not have theirs? So
Exactly.
I feel like at the end of the day, the only thing for me, I always wonder with these things, me being pessimistic, I guess you guys would say, is like, did they have to wait 120 years because everybody was dead that would have a problem with it? Like that's kind of like how I don't know, like if that's where the MLB's thought with it was it. Like I don't know, but it is far overdue. I know that.
I think it's overdue. And Jordan and I were kind of talking about this text message earlier today. I'm interested in the research they did. I know they did three years of research, and they got like a dozen or so researchers together where they broke this down a dozen times to try to figure out how they were going to calculate the numbers. Josh Gibson, arguably one of the best underdocumented players ever. I told Jordan this. I'm not comfortable speaking on this very much because I don't have the statistical knowledge. I don't know the players well enough. I mean, I knew a lot of the guys from the Negro League, and I knew who they were. Gibson was one I didn't even
read books on it at all. Like I did.
No, not at all.
No, I remember being in third grade and there was a teacher that read a book on Josh Gibson, like a little like kids like that's how that was my first memory of him. But I don't remember. Yeah.
So I never heard of Josh Gibson until we had Jordan on the first time, and he brought it up to me, and he was talking to me about how he hit 800 home runs, and I was like, oh, 800, I would have heard about that.
Yeah.
So now that this is out here, I'm doing a little bit more research on how the whole thing is done. I'm not against it. I'm for it. I do have some questions because I haven't done enough reading, haven't heard enough about it yet, how they calculated the stats. I know that they did some research where, because the competition wasn't as balanced throughout the Negro Leagues, that they had to take away some years where, and if I recall this correctly, the word that was used was barnstorming, and for the statistics, how they jumped so much. But like I said, Jordan originally told me that he had over some over 800 home runs, and that he's only getting credit for 166, which means in those, from what I've seen, 5 years they took out of his career because the leagues just weren't competitively equal to what the MLB had at the time. They removed those stats. He only gets 166 home runs. So that shows me a big difference, which makes me want to ask a few more questions. But if you take his stuff, where they were only playing 50 to 65, 68 games a year, statistically it works out. So I have no problem with it. I just want to learn more about it so I can speak more intelligently about how this all incorporates and falls into the record books. I'm very much for it.
My big thing is this is like, I just feel like this is one that I'm completely like, it doesn't bother me at all because of a couple of reasons. Like, it doesn't bother me like, oh, like even the way I look at it, because if you look at the history of like even the Major League Baseball then it wasn't equal. You weren't getting your best players in the league.
No.
The way the game was played, it was the same. You know what I mean? You weren't getting the best players with the best. So like, even though I see Ty Cobb had the best batting average, in some way, when I see Gibson has the best batting average, yeah, they're both 1-2, but they never got to really face the same competition. And I feel like that's where that generations and all those were always cheated in terms of actually who was the best. So for me, I think it's just it's so far removed. So I feel like baseball is like, it's okay now. We can kind of like, that was the thing I kind of took from it, like in a way, like we don't have to worry about any pushback from any generation guys from that era. We don't, I feel like that was where they were at with it. And so I felt like they felt like it was that was my only thing with where I thought. I just found it interesting that they came out with it now. That's all. That's the only thing I found interesting.
There shouldn't be any pushback in the first place anyways. It's baseball. The base is 90 feet apart. The mound is 60 foot 6 inches away from the plate. Every outfield's different anyways.
Yeah.
Distances. So it doesn't matter. The game's
that
played
era
on
of
the same.
Baseball is so different, right, Josh? That era.
Oh, absolutely. And so the one thing I do want to say here that I'm very confident in this statement. I may say it incorrectly, but I'm very confident in what I mean. You can take the Negro League baseball stats and integrate them into the MLB stats, and it's apples to apples. You can't take Canadian football and integrate those stats in the NFL football because they're not playing on the same field. The rules aren't the same. The game's not exactly the same. Now, what I am interested to see is how long have the Mexican and the Latin leagues played, and what records are down there that we don't know about that haven't been integrated in MLB records, and what about the Japanese league? How long have they been playing where, again, same size fields, same bases, same mounds? How many records do they have that we need to bring over here to complete? And I think they at that point you got to change it to it's not the MLB record books, it's World Baseball record books at that point because you got to integrate everything because baseball is baseball. It doesn't change country to country. That's what makes baseball amazing. That's what makes baseball fantastic for the world to come together. That's why the World Baseball Classic is fantastic.
No doubt. No doubt.
I would like to add when it comes down to when they finally did integrate the leagues together, I've been seeing a lot of people like compare how they did in the Negro League versus how they did in the major leagues. But that part is difficult for the players that were there for their whole careers, like Satchel Paige, for example, because he came to, well, we really don't know how old he is, but he was old when he was a rookie. And so it's when people do that, I'm just like, well, you have to look at their age. You have like a 35-year-old rookie coming in. So they have like 5 years of playing in the MLB. That's the only pushback I've been seeing. And then also a bunch of other stuff, but that's other stuff. But I'm 100% a supporter for it. I love it. Everything about it is amazing. But yes, it should have happened a lot sooner.
I completely agree. I think we covered that. We'll probably get into more maybe over time when we kind of learn more about it when we get the stats. But I just think, like we said, we kind of touched on. I feel like those back then, it wasn't right. So it is for me. It is what it is. So I'm completely good with that. I got Josh and Jordan. It's gonna be about a 2-minute thing here, and then we're gonna get right back into. Well, Jordan, I didn't leave the show.
Did you just kill it?
I did not kill him.
You go.
I did not kill him. But Josh, with that, I'm gonna play because you mentioned the Canadian League. I feel like it's a good transition. Let's get into it.
Our guy, an accent because you had no idea I was gonna bring that up.
The boss, right?
Hefe?
Mr. Brandon, Mr. CEO here, got a little short here for us, a little video.
Hefe.
We'll play that for us. He's got a little thing on the uniforms here in Toronto. We'll get that, and we'll get into when you kind of join us after that. We'll get right into Justin Verlander joining the top 10 in Ks, and can anybody get 3,000 Ks again? So, Josh, here we go with it.
This is a Jersey Talk with Staff short right here on the Variety Sports Network on the 7th inning stretch. We're talking the Toronto Blue Jays brand new City Connect jerseys, which will debut tomorrow night, May 31st against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and you'll see 14 more times later on and throughout the season.
Did that go bad for you, Josh, as well, or no?
What do you mean?
Did it pause? No.
A little bit. But
a little bit? All right, let's try it again. Jordan, you back with us here?
I have no idea what happened. My Chrome just got disconnected.
No idea. All right,
I'm just getting there.
I got my guy Brandon here. He's got a little video on Toronto here on their new jerseys, and we'll get into a little Verlander stuff here as well. So
Shane, why are you shooting down my idea? I'm trying to be revolutionary here. No, Shane, put that back up.
I didn't
talent differential. Okay, the talent differential from different countries would be difficult to make a World Baseball record book. There would be extreme records. Shane, I completely agree with you. But it's the same thing we've done with the Negro League integrations. They went back and compared when the leagues were comparable to what the talent was in the MLB. That's why this works. And I think they could do that with the other leagues around the world, especially in the Latin American leagues and the Japanese leagues. You don't have to like my idea. That's fine. It's just an idea, though. It's a thought. At least I'm trying.
All right, I'm going to get it back on it. I think maybe because I was sharing stuff that he said it worked for him, so I'm going to get it going.
This is a Jersey Talk with Staff short right here on the Variety Sports Network on the 7th inning stretch. We're talking the Toronto Blue Jays brand new City Connect jerseys, which will debut tomorrow night, May 31st against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and you'll see 14 more times later on and throughout the season. With that being said, let's dive a little deeper into these uniforms with the brand new City Connect jerseys of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, this jersey is considered blue. Yes, believe it or not, it is a pitch blue is what they're calling it. And it's supposed to be what the color of Lake Ontario is at night. And the reason for that is because the sharp red and blue colors that are on this uniform for the Blue Jays are supposed to it's supposed to reminisce of the nightlife of Toronto, the bright lights, the bustling bar, all that kind of stuff that goes on in Toronto, and their passion for sports. You look at the Toronto Blue Jays, Toronto Maple Leafs, the Toronto Raptors, all very, very prominent. It just shows the passion the city has for their sports teams itself. So the city skyline is supposed to be reflecting across across the pitch blue color of Lake Ontario itself. So really, really neat feature there. You get the cool Blue Jay as well. Plus the city flag is in the two lines of the city flag is on the sleeve there as well. Really, really cool stuff. You get the T on the hat, which is supposed to reminisce the pillars of City Hall in Toronto, along with the maple leaf on the hat, which it's supposed to connect not just the city of Toronto, but the whole nation of Canada, with the Toronto Blue Jays being Canada's only Major League professional baseball team in the country. So not only does it connect a city, but it also connects an entire nation, which is a really, really cool feature as well. So again, let us know your thoughts on the City Connect jerseys of the Toronto Blue Jays right here on the seventh inning stretch. This has been Jersey Talk with Saf, Josh, and Darren. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Brandon, with a little thought there on the on Toronto and their night light uniforms there. Any of you been to Toronto? I have not had the pleasure of being there. Jordan, Josh, never been there?
I've never been there.
Been to Canada at all?
No.
No,
I have no interest in going to Canada ever in my life, except for maybe
It's a big freaking country, man. It's not like it's
cold.
It's the second biggest country. Wait, I just want to go to Niagara. That's all.
I've been to Vancouver. That's right. Vancouver, I've been out there. I've been to a few other. It's pretty cool. Vancouver's, that's west, right? It's right bit of Washington, so it's a little different. I've been there in the summer. Obviously, me living in California, that was the road trip right up through Oregon, through Washington, right to Vancouver. That's where we made our way to. So the uniforms there with it. Brandon, appreciate you making that video. I get what you're saying, but if they can spend 3 years in one league, they can look at doing with other pro sports. It may take. Yeah, I enjoy that as well. What do you guys think of as we kind of go on from those uniforms from Toronto? Brandon, again, appreciate that you kind of chiming in with that. The City Connects, Jordan, real quick on that before I move on. Are you a fan of the City Connects, or do you feel like MLB is trying too hard?
Oh, I think they go hard. I like them a lot.
All right. Are you a fan of the Cardinals one?
I like Toronto's. I like dark colors personally. Did
you like the Rays one then too?
Oh, I love the Rays. Love
Fire.
the Rays. I like my favorite. My favorite is probably Cincinnati. I really like Cincinnati.
Did you like your Cardinals or no?
I actually did. It grew on me. The pictures did not do it justice, but when I saw them on the field, I was like, they look a lot nicer.
The hat for me
they're not my favorite. They're not my favorite.
Yeah, the hat for me.
But I will say Cincinnati's probably my favorite. Close behind is Tampa Bay. I do like Baltimore's too.
Baltimore's the same.
And Southside. I like
Toronto,
the White Sox.
I'm going to say Toronto, Josh. That's not a bad uniform though for City Connect.
I like Tampa's. And I know people don't like this one, but I like the one that Philly came out with this year. I don't think it matches the city at all, but I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
I like Arizona's. I think Colorado's is cool for being one of the worst teams in the league. Cardinals is growing on me though, and I had the same opinion as Jordan. I hated the pictures when they first came out. I was really upset with it, but it's really hard to do an alternate look to the best jersey in baseball, anyways. So they played it safe. I think they could have done a little bit more, and I've been pretty steady on the river stripes they did in the dark red. I think they should have done it in white. But other than that, I mean, it's cool. The hat could have been better, but it is what it is.
The hat sucks. I think it's
Brandon,
very basic.
I like it. I like the video there with it. I like it. All right, hey, we're kind of here. We'll get through it. I got just a quick thing, maybe on Verlander. You guys will just let me maybe talk about it, and we can deep dive more into it. I got trivia and that stuff too, but I just feel like whenever there's milestones for me, I feel like it's a bigger deal. Like, I don't know, like Verlander now is in our top 10. of all-time Ks, right? Like he passes Maddox. He's in that list. He's in that elite company of Major League Baseball players. Like in our life, you have seen Verlander pitch many of times, gentlemen, and he is in that top 10. He's in our generation. Kershaw's not there yet. It looks like he's going to get to 3,000. He's like 60 away, 65. Like he should get there, right? But you never know, injuries or what. Greinke, I think, is like 55 away, but he retired, obviously. So I don't. Do you think there's a chance? I want you to talk about Verlander, but also answer this question. The same thought, Josh. Do you think there's, with Verlander getting to 3,000, how great he is, but also, is there a possibility another pitcher even gets to this? I mean, it's like, oh, Paul Skeens, but we have injuries. We have this stuff. What do you think of that possibility? I mean, this is an elite company Verlander joined.
Oh, it's absolutely. I think Verlander. Okay, I want to go two ways with this, and I'm sorry. I usually pick a side, but I firmly believe that Verlander will most likely be the last one to get there unless Kershaw gets it because he's so close. I think there's other talent that could do it. I think there's other guys that could get it done.
Yeah, there's always that.
The way that baseball is played today, where they watch pitch counts so much and they limit guys to 5, maybe 6 innings most of the time nowadays, I don't think the opportunity is going to present itself nearly as often for a guy to get the 3,000 strikeouts unless he averages 10 Ks a game, for 15 years. I just, or however long it would take. I don't know the math, guys. I'm not a mathematician. I don't claim to be. But I mean, there's a chance, but I just don't know what the way to get it.
I did an interview today with an 8th grader going into 8th grade for our 8th grade interview, Josh. And guess what his answer was? He goes, for math, he goes, yeah, I don't see the importance of math going forward. I was like, well, it might have been my same answer in 7th grade as well. I hear you on that one. Good answer there. But go ahead, Josh. Keep going.
No, that's you got. That's all I had.
Jordan, what do you think of Verlander there? Do you think Josh is right? You think nobody else gets there with it? I know you guys might not be able to see on the screen, so I'll read kind of the top list here as well, moving forward. And then I'll let Jordan go there. So Verlander goes in the top 10. There, he's about 150 strikeouts away from Walter Johnson at 9. He passes Gray Maddox. He passed Scherzer this year. Kershaw is the active player. He's at 2,944. The next active player is Chris Sale with 2,267. So Jordan, we're like, I mean, you're younger than us now. Like, do you see your generation get to that 3,000 in some regards?
If anybody were to do it, God forbid injuries and all that other stuff, even though Verlanders have had, I think he's had like 2 out of seasons before in his career, 2 or 3, or maybe even more than that. I think Strider has a chance. Paul Skeens, again, God forbid any injuries happen. It's tough because Josh has a good point. These injuries are happening because they're throwing so hard these days. They're throwing so hard. They're focused on velocity, spin rate, all the other stuff as well. And then also they're focused on the pitch count, making sure that they don't throw too much. And so they make it tough. And Greg Maddux was able to get there because he didn't throw 100 miles per hour, and somehow he still got 3,300 strikeouts. It's mind-blowing to me. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Out of anybody, Strider and Skeens, I think, has the best chance.
Yeah, it's gonna be really. I think those are the good calls. I was thinking maybe a sneaky one, Zach Wheeler, like the sneaky, like I don't know, like
how old is he?
Zach Wheeler is. Let's see. Let me look. I got it right now.
He's like 32, right?
He might. Yeah, no, he's 34. He's not gonna make it. Yeah, you're right.
He's not gonna get it.
Yeah, I think those are your guys you're looking at. I just feel like it's an interesting kind of debate. But for me, it was more special. Like, we'll get into Verlander more when he retires. But it just, for me, it's just that K. I mean, look at that list, right? I mean, if we look at it, like, it's pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
I mean, we're talking like Verlander's in a very elite company now. He's in a top 10. That's crazy.
Like the thing is like Greg Maddux is in my fantasy league. He was voted the best pitcher of all time, which truthfully understood. But like we don't see those style of pitchers anymore. And I think we need more of that so we can have longevity out of these pitchers. And that's why it's going to be tough because, like I mentioned before, Greg Maddux would throw wherever he wanted with the nastiest breaks ever. And all we have is just nasty breaks and fastballs and then elbows bursting. So I want to see it again. That company's crazy, though. 100%.
And he's going to probably sit at number 12. That's where Maddux, Scherzer's probably going to pass him, I would think.
Oh, yeah. Scherzer and Kershaw's not going to pass him.
Scherzer is like what? He's 4 behind Maddux. So unless he just doesn't pitch anymore, he's going to pass him. So Maddux will probably end up at 12. So I don't know. Right. I just thought it was kind of crazy. He ends up there with that kind of going on there. So have that part with it. What do you guys think of my diamond notes tonight with it? I had Simeon. He's out for the Rangers. Ended his streak, 349 games. Angel Hernandez retires from umpiring.
We got 2 more to get rid of now.
Oh yeah,
Stevie, is it Buckner and who else?
That's one.
Diaz.
Laz Diaz.
Laz Diaz is getting the Mets DFA, Mr. Lopez from the Mets. So I thought, we got a couple here. It's only the 3 of us. Josh, where do you want to start with some of my diamond notes around the league here?
Well, Angel Hernandez has made the best call of his entire career by retiring from the MLB. I mean, it was time for the dude to go. CB Buckner needs to follow suit and be gone by the end of the season, and Diaz needs to be gone too. I think if you get rid of those 3 bad umps, I think we can slow down the robot umps and we can bring in the challenge system and try to salvage baseball for what it has always been traditionally. There's a chance now. There's a chance. I still fear the day robot umps come in. I think it's going to ruin the game of baseball, but I am all for seeing the challenge system. So thank you, Angel Hernandez, for leaving the game and trying to leave us with a little over half a season that could be better called.
So, he was so bad. Yeah. I remember this game. The one that sticks out to me was like an A's. It wasn't even his call. It was like an A's Indians game. I remember like Adam Rosario hits. He was the guy that ran really fast around the bases. He's old. He played about 8 years ago. Played for the Guardians and Reds actually too for a little time. He hits it off. The Guardians used to have this little rail above that little like Jacobs Field left field, and he hit it off of that. And Hernandez got in the middle of that. And I just remember that being my biggest issue with him at times. But he was considered a bad, terrible umpire. Jordan, what do you make of that? And maybe another diamond note there.
Real quick with the Angel Hernandez fun fact, he is the 5th rated worst umpire in MLB history.
Joe West is in front of him. Who else?
He is not. There were other 4s. I saw a video on it. I should have took a screenshot.
You should have.
Dang it. But no, it's 4 others that I don't know.
Number 1 in our hearts, though.
Oh yeah, for our generation,
we're gonna miss him low key though. But
John Boy's gonna really miss him. He misses a lot of content.
His clicks are gonna go down.
John Boy rocks. But I would have to say Mets DFA Jorge Lopez. Okay, all right. So what we thought he said was horrible. What he actually said is not that bad. Him throwing the glove is bad.
Can I play
quick? I'll elaborate.
Let me play it real quick, and then I'll let you kind of go on from let you kind of have your go from there.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened. So, whatever they want to do, I'll be tomorrow here if they want me, whatever they want to do. So, I'm going to keep doing this thing, so I'm healthy on whatever, on whatever to do, I'm ready.
Oh, guys, I just appreciated his honesty. Like, I don't give a beep. I know our team freaking sucks. I just loved every part of it. Jordan, what do you make of that?
So our amazing journalism and social media misconstrued his comment. He did not say he's on the worst effing team. He said that he is the worst teammate. And so does he deserve to get DFA for throwing the glove? Sure. But the statement that he made, I don't think deserved it because he literally is just talking bad about himself and not his teammate or his team. He's going to get picked up. He's been solid all season, so he's going to get picked up in a heartbeat. So, I mean, he'll be on a better team probably. Watch the Dodgers going to get him.
Oh man, like it's one of those things. I mean, Josh coming on, right? Josh, we had to let people go, if you know what I mean. But that's one of the things where I said the Mets don't have an identity. Like, I mean, if you that's a key thing. So if they didn't let him go, to me, it would be a massive issue, like in the sense of that. But you're right. Maybe he did get misunderstood. But at the end of the day, he did lash out. He got unnecessary, but whatever. That part. What do you think there, Josh?
So my problem is not with what he said. I don't care what he said. I am all for free speech. Say what's on your mind. All good. It was the throwing the glove in the stands, which is the problem.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's the only thing I have a problem with. The lack of professional conduct there, to me, is absolutely unacceptable. I think the MLB should fine him. Not a heavy fine, but just smack on the wrist, $25,000, whatever, and then let him get picked up by somebody.
I mean, like you said, he was kind of saying about both, but like, if you're not, what's the saying? If you're not that good, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, that's what it is, right? Like, if you're not that good, like, you're right, Jordan, you may get picked up, but it was worth getting rid of. So that was what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And the Mets are the team there that's not going to debate him with it. Simeon, obviously, he breaks 349. Crazy to think.
Why would they do that to him?
Crazy. He's been injured, I guess they said, so they're with it. Wow. The Rays, they release renderings. I know all about renderings. We'll see that when we get there with all that good stuff. With as an A's fan here, we'll see when we get.
They're going to be back in Montreal.
Exactly.
You guys are about to be the Sacramento A's.
Exactly. So we'll see. We'll take your renderings and throw it straight up. You know what? So we'll see what happens with the good old renderings. Any final thoughts on Diamond Notes? Anything else I kind of forgot? Maybe guys from around the league that maybe I left off.
No, not off the top of my mind. I'm sure there's something, but nothing's jumping out to me.
It's not coming out to you. All right, I'll take it as.
Gunnar Henderson's looking like Alex Rodriguez right now.
I mean, he's on pace for like 56 home runs.
Mariners, Alex Rodriguez is what Gunnar Henderson's looking like right now. It's insane.
I mean, he was on pace for like 56 home runs or something crazy like that.
That's what I thought I saw today.
Yeah, like he's looking like he's making a run for AL MVP.
And do you remember that everybody was all high on Adley Rutschman and he was going to lead the Baltimore to a championship, and it's turned out it's going to be Gunnar Henderson with Adley Rutschman.
Still up there.
But Adley Rutschman's not going to be Batman. Adley Rutschman's going to be Robin. And Gunnar Henderson's going to be Batman.
Make him Martian Manhunter at least. He's not a sidekick.
Okay, you knew what I was getting at. You didn't have to...
I know. I just we haven't disagreed at all this tonight, so I had to do something.
It's so weird not fight with you and argue with you. It's kind of nice though.
One night where we get that, we'll take that as one day. All right, hey, let's get to MLB trivia here with it. All right, MLB trivia. This will be a tougher one for you guys, but I also feel like should be in play. I thought of both of you. Understand the age, but I still feel like it should be in play.
Okay.
All right. I played in the MLB from 1985 to 2001. Played for 7 different teams as an outfielder. Last playing with the Chicago White Sox. Any guesses along the way there, gentlemen? Anything we want to throw out? Any a miracle guess or anything like that? Nothing. All right. Nothing. All right. So we got nothing there with it. All right. Hint number 2 I have for you. I was a 6-time All-Star, a two-time. Let me get this paused here for a second. A 2-time World Series champion. My second World Series came with the Yankees in 2000. Any guess we want to take there?
It's just stressing me out.
No,
man, like I ain't even close. Keep going.
Man, all right. We're in the 80s here. I guess you guys are I won Rookie of the Year as well as an MVP, ending my career with 1,877 hits, 462 homers, 200 stolen bases, and I am also known for writing a controversial.
Is it Canseco?
We are right, gentlemen.
I had it right for once, and I couldn't even answer first.
Was it the final hit that gave it away?
No,
Was it the final hit?
It was the controversial book for me.
That was it too. I was like, oh, it's
like
OJ.
right when I read that part, I was letting you finish, and then and I was like, Canseco.
If you would have told me he was on the A's with Big Mac, I would have gotten it. And
yeah, if you would have said A's.
What if I said 40-40 man? First 40-40 man. Would that have gave it to you?
Nah.
It should have.
It
wouldn't have.
First 40. I was going to use that as hit number 2, but I was like, that's obvious. He's the first guy to ever get 40-40. I can't give that away. I can't.
He had 40-40.
I knew
he had 40-40. I didn't know he was the first.
Yep, he was the first guy in 1988. They lose to the Dodgers in the World Series. It's a grand slammy, and they still lose in Game 1 to Big Kirk out there.
That's only the second one I've gotten right this year.
You have. And this big clue, Josh, we know that. Give this man TMZ news.
I didn't know he stole 40 bases. I didn't know.
Yes, he did. We got to know that. All right.
I thought it was something like Hank Aaron or Willie Mays is already done.
No,
because those two guys were speedsters.
He was known like I said. I was born in 1984, so Canseco. Like for me, I was 4 when he won the MVP. Right? Like so for me, you're starting to get into kindergarten, first grade. He was the big superstar around MLB. My parents would VCR the games. He was the big superstar that was hitting the homers. He had 42. He had 40 and 90. You know what I mean? Like, so he was the guy to watch. He was the main show at that time. So, all right, MLB flashback video of the week. We'll get out of here. This is a little bit of a longer one, 2 minutes if we can get through it. But like, I feel like I've been saving this for a while. It was like I think this happened yesterday or today, one of these days, like 7 or 8 years ago. It's still my favorite video I've ever seen between everybody. So it's still one of my favorites. I got to get it out here. So I'm going to add it to the stage. We get Mr. Syndergaard there. I think so. There you go.
Man, I miss Syndergaard.
I remember this.
Just keep watching. It gets better.
I thought you were going to show Hunter Strickland versus Bryce Harper.
You can't do that. You're not in that situation, man. You can't. No, that ain't going to happen. I mean, I know you're going to say that, but that ain't going to happen. I mean, that's the wrong time to do it. That's all. I'm telling you. Well, it is what it is, but that ain't going to happen. Our ass is in the jackpot. We don't do something there. I'm just telling you that.
But shouldn't there be a warning?
No. I mean, okay, the situation of what happened and everything else, that's what dictates that. Okay?
But there was no prior knowledge that before the game started. I mean, if Barry comes into the dugout and says, hey, if somebody gets hit, then
everybody knows what the situation is, okay?
This is the best part.
Take him. Terry. Get a handle. Come on, let's go. Come on, talk to me. Talk to me.
Tommy, that's fucking bullshit.
Talk to me. Then you talk to me about it.
Okay. You gotta give us a shot.
You know what?
You gotta give us a shot.
Okay, listen to me. Let me hear what I'm saying. Okay? You get your shot. You had your shot right there in the situation.
Well, why
you
not?
know the situation,
I know
Terry.
it. Why don't you get a shot, Tommy?
Because that makes it worse, Terry. That makes it fucking worse.
I know it. But MLB did nothing to that guy. Nothing.
Okay, that I can't control that, Terry. I can't control that. You know as well as I do Terry, you know where I stand on the whole fucking situation. But
you're better than that, Tommy. You know that.
Terry, listen, I'm telling you, our ass is in the jackpot now. Okay, I'm just telling you.
Fucking motherfucker.
You know what? That's you got.
Well, now we have the parental warning on this episode.
Oh, Josh, it's worth it though. This is as beautiful as it gets with that. Did Terry
get ejected too?
Oh, he got ejected. It's one of my favorite videos of all time when he gets ejected. Like I remember that came out. I remember and I've seen now that they were on a podcast together like 4 months ago, and they were both like, "How that's not supposed to come out." Like you know what I mean? Like there was like so they were like pissed how that got out, but it's still like you should listen to a podcast they did together. It's beautiful. Like. Now them talking about it all these years, but it's still my favorite thing. Like our ass is in the jackpot. Like I was like, And like, you got to understand the situation. You got to understand the situation. Like, if you remember, this was a thing because you remember when Utley took out Tejada, or was it Miguel?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Shortstop the year before. That was kind of the payback the year next. So for me, it's just one of my favorite videos of all time. I had to play it. Sorry for the language, but if you're a hardcore baseball fan, you enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Can I make a request?
What?
Can you get the one up, and you can play it whenever you want, but the one between Tony La Russa and Baker?
Yeah, I have that on the docket.
Okay.
I also have one with Mr. Weaver that's even better. And there is catchy in that one, but that one will be a beauty one of these days where you'll get him from the old Orioles. I've had that one for about a year on the docket. So, Jordan, I love good objections. We miss those.
One of my favorites is Kyle Schwarber against the Brewers. That's a classic.
That's a good one.
And then he was arguing for both the Brewers and the Phillies. He's like, "You've been bad for both of us."
You're right. I forgot about that. That's great.
He's like, you called him outside.
Was that Angel Hernandez too? That was
probably. Yeah, that was Angel. And when Josh Hader struck him out, he turned around and was like, "Eek."
You know the other one that we're speaking of, the other Angel Hernandez, now paused my mind because you're saying that is, remember, I think it might not have been ESPN, but Bryce Harper kind of walks down Hernandez. He's the third base umpire for calling him out on a check swing. Yeah. He kind of just walks him down. And he's like pointing at him like, no, like a mother, like, you are terrible, you loser.
And then he just kept like saying how bad he was. Right. And granted that call was horrible. He was not even close to his swing. And
that was good stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna miss Angel Hernandez for those moments though.
We will miss him for that. The memes, we'll miss him for that. Josh, like Angel Hernandez, where did I go wrong tonight?
I don't have anything for you going wrong tonight because tonight was very much of we have our own opinions thing. But I do have one final thing.
You can still say I'm wrong with my opinion.
No, I'm not. It's America. You have every right to your opinion.
What do you got?
So, I got a very, very, very hot take.
Oh, dang it.
We have a new cheating team in the MLB. Anybody want to take a guess of who I'm going to say it is?
Royals?
Nope.
They have the best record. Brewers? The
Bingo.
Cardinals? I read something today right before
what did the Brewers do?
It said Sonny Gray said something about Sonny Gray, and like they were like looking for fastballs. I was like, how is that controversial that he's looking for fastballs on the first pitch?
No, that's not it. It's the Brewers.
What's the Brewers?
So I initiated a conversation at work this morning with a friend of mine who is, I mean, you think we're deep into baseball. He's deeper in it. He's probably as deep, if not deeper than us into it. And he has people he knows around the MLB. Apparently, he was given a point of view that the Brewers are doing something very similar to what the Astros did.
How?
And the proof is, or the evidence that was presented to him that he went back and watched and he was like, that made sense, was when Miles Michaelis pitched against the Brewers in his last start, they never swung at a single fastball he threw. The entire game he was in. And any fastball that they swung at, they crushed it. They knew what he was going to throw before he threw it. They were picking up the signs somewhere, somehow, and it was being signaled in, and that's why Yelich crushed him, and I think it was Terang crushed him. So, again, I heard this today. Again, it's a hot take, but it's something I'm going to be paying attention to when I watch the Brewers now about what pitches they're swinging at against which pitchers. Right. So it's something to look out for.
Yeah,
look for it. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm not making a report here. I'm just saying it's something we should look at because let's be honest.
Josh Bayless over here.
No, don't even compare me to that jackwagon.
Dude, him and Skip are best friends.
But explain to me how such a rookie team with a new manager has been so dominant at the start of the season against veterans the way they have been. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And Yelich has been down for the last 3 years, and all of a sudden he's starting to look like his old self at the age he's at after the injury. we've looked at the stats. We've had that discussion, Jordan.
He batted over 300 last year.
Not for the entire season. He didn't.
He ended the season. What do you mean?
I'm talking about look at longer comparison. We're not debating on Yelich being good or not. We're just saying he looks more like he did when he was an all-star
MVP
than he has in the last 3 or 4 years. That's all I'm saying. You don't typically get that rejuvenation. So it has been brought to my attention that maybe something fishy is going on in Milwaukee, and now it's going to be something I'm going to be paying attention to for the rest of the year.
Sounds like some Cardinals fans getting their feelings hurt. That's what it sounds like to me. As they're saying,
and it may sound like that to you.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with what you said. And I'm a Cardinals fan.
I know you were high. You would throw me under the bus. I know you were high on Milwaukee, and I'm not trying to shoot down your pick from the earlier in the season. But you cannot tell me it does not seem a little bit odd how they were eating pitchers up left and right.
They are hitting very well.
With the youth they have not seen these pitchers before.
They are hitting very well.
They hit 7. They hit 7 off of Imanaga last night.
Tell me,
he's
Imanaga's
rookie of the year,
locked down all season.
I know. I had to take him off my rundown today because of that. I was like, he was on my thing today, and I said, nope, he got too ripped. I got to take him off the rundown, Jordan. You know I do it here, so I got set. That was the key with it. Josh,
Imanaga is one of my favorite pitchers right now. I'm a huge fan of his.
Me too.
So am I.
Me
I think
too.
It's fantastic to watch.
I call him Henry Rowengarter. That's what I call
him. Him and Yamamoto are my favorites right now.
And Yamamoto has been unimpressive to me.
Yeah, well, you get that.
He's pitching well. What do you mean?
Because of the hype.
Like who else got? Yeah, Jordan. I gotta say it's been fun having you on the show here the last few weeks. You're always. I kind of we have your guys. We have my guy Tyler. We have our Logan. We have you. I always feel like there's an open invite. So if you can make the show, jump on.
Yeah.
You know, every Thursday, you know where we'll be at 7:00. You have the invitation. You bring the baseball knowledge. Me and Josh are always fans of that kind of stuff. Along with it, so appreciate you jumping on with us tonight as well to talk a little 7th inning stretch here with it. Appreciate your insight on it. I always love getting your perspective on it as well, especially considering it's not a massive age gap, but it's enough to where we've kind of seen players at different eras and how we kind of see them. So it's kind of fun getting your take on it compared to mine on that stuff too. Josh Edwards, another good show tonight as well here at 7th inning stretch show.
Because of you, good sir.
Well, and Jordan, you guys always make it fun. It makes it fun to talk baseball. I love basketball.
Easier to talk to regular Jordan instead of prime Jordan. Because we can see his eyes, and we have to deal with the sunglasses reflecting.
My glasses were right here. I just didn't feel like
over there. Just leave them
I
over
just
there.
didn't feel like wearing them.
We did get Brian Jordan. It's all right. We got it. We got what we call real Jordan, real world Jordan. Welcome to WTV. We had that with it, so we got that. But hey, 7th inning stretch here. We're almost close to an hour and a half here with it. Appreciate anybody that joined us. We got 77 people in here tonight with it. Appreciate you guys. Shane, you tuning in with it. Our guy there with the game board, Susie, turning in. Logan as well, tuning in as well. Appreciate you as well. My guy Ant out in Memphis out there. Appreciate him tuning in as well. So appreciate you guys kind of making 7th inning stretch a big hit here on Variety Sports Network. Continue to make our way through the summer. Next week, gentlemen, we're in June. Starts to kind of pick up real baseball here. We get to the NBA Finals of basketball. Kind of feels like baseball solo here in a little bit here coming up. So going to be a big deal here. College Baseball World Series in the air. We have all that good stuff going on baseball-wise. So it was good doing the show with you guys. Appreciate you guys both as always. So until next week, 7th inning stretch for Jordan, for Josh Edwards. I'm Darren Breyer. We'll see you guys then. Peace.